I went to the Reagan Library in August to lay out a plan to destroy ISIS, and I'll go through it very quickly. Arm the Kurds directly. This administration refuses to do that. Embed our troops in the Iraqi military. Other countries have done that in the past. We do not do it, prohibited by this administration. Regain the relationship with the Sunni tribal leaders that was a factor, a significant factor in the surge that created a fragile but stable Iraq the day that Barack Obama took office. Take the lawyers off the war fighters. This is the most amazing thing in the world. You may have read it. That leaflets were sent out to the truck drivers of the tankers sending diesel fuel and gasoline, refined products, across the Turkish border to be sold illicitly. And apparently they're also selling it directly to the Assad regime. We would send flyers out to the truck drivers saying, you know, be careful because we might bomb you. Really? I mean, think about that. If they're taking ISIS-controlled oil to sell it illegally to another country, to sustain the caliphate, and to organize the destruction of Western civilization in their mind, maybe we should bomb them first as a healthy deterrent rather than send leaflets. And maybe when the sorties are launched, instead of having 3 levels of approval, maybe we should say, let's improve intelligence on the ground and have forward controllers to identify what the targets are and unleash the greatest Air Force ever created since the beginning of mankind. Take the lawyers off the back. Create safe zones inside of Syria. Create a no-fly zone in Syria. Build a coalition led by Sunnis in Syria, but supported by the Persian Gulf countries and all Arab nations with the support of Europe, with American leadership led by special operators. That's how you destroy ISIS. And as it relates to the homeland, then there are other elements that we need to do. I think it was tragic that the reauthorization of the Patriot Act did not include the metadata program. I've asked 1,000 different ways about this. And people just have such distrust of government these days, and I understand that why they do. But I have not been able to have anybody tell me, and I've asked it a multitude of times in a multitude of ways, that anybody's civil liberties have been violated by the metadata program. But we took it away, and it is it should be in the toolkit for the NSA and other 3-letter agencies in this country to keep us safe. The final thing I'll say about this, about how we keep ourselves safe, we have to be vigilant. What they want is for the Los Angeles School District to close down for 2 days. I mean, think of the impact of that. 750,000 students shut down for 2 days. Businesses having to now either cancel their business so that moms or dads can take care of their kids or provide daycare facilities. Freezing in place is what they want. And when we're fearful because there is a sense of insecurity, that's what they want. So one, we have to make sure that we're vigilant. We can't be naive about this, but we have to go about our business. And secondly, I think local law enforcement chief ought to be engaged in this fight as well. We have 800,000 sworn law enforcement officers. The FBI cannot follow every lead. Imagine if there was any indication, and I don't have any evidence to suggest one way or the other whether there was on the San Bernardino case, to have called the San Bernardino police and say, could you just go check to see what they're doing. They would have gone into a garage where there were pipe bombs, scores of them being built, ammunition far beyond what any hunter would have, and it could have deterred this. But the reluctance of the federal law enforcement agencies to cooperate with local law enforcement has to change. We have to be the eyes and ears of the dedicated men and women in Washington and around our country that are protecting us as well.